Leah. Let's get started. Stand at the top of your mat, come into Tadasana. Hips are stacked over knees, which are stacked over ankles. Feet are hips distance apart and parallel. Send your inner thighs back as you lengthen your tailbone down. Soften your front ribs in as you anchor your shoulder blades onto your back. Melt your shoulders away from your ears and lengthen up to the sky through the crown of your head. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, engage your core and hinge forward at your hips to a forward fold. Root your feet into the ground as you reach up to the sky with your sitting bones. Keep your collarbones broad and inhale to halfway lift. Reach out through the crown of your head, root through your feet, and engage your core to create a nice number 7 shape with the body. Exhale, back into forward fold. Place your hands outer shoulders distance apart and root into the 4 corners of your hand. That's the base of your index finger, the base of your pinky finger, and the 2 points of your palm. Step backwards into plank. In plank, push out through your heels, root down through your hands, engage your inner and outer hips so your pelvis doesn't droop, melt your shoulders away from your ears, and keep your collarbone wide as you lower all the way to the ground. Root your pelvis and the tops of your feet into the floor as you melt your shoulder points off the ground. Engage your core to protect your lower back and drop your chin as you lengthen the back of your neck. Root strongly into your fingertips as you push your hips up and back to downward facing dog. And take 5 cycles of breath. In downward facing dog, feet are hips distance apart and parallel. Hands are outer shoulder distance apart. Knees are bent. Inner thighs are pushing back. Outer arms are wrapping in. Your biceps are reaching towards the sky. And as you draw your belly in, your sitting bones reach up towards the sky and your heels reach down towards the ground. A few more steady, even cycles of breath. Engage your core as you move forward in space and step up to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, broad chest, and strong core. Exhale, place your hands on your hips, root into your feet, and rise up to Tadasana. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, root your feet into the floor, find forward fold. Bend your knees, send your sitting bones back in space. Root through all 5 of your fingers and step backward into downward facing dog. Downward facing dog, again, feet are hips distance apart and parallel, heels reaching towards the ground. Your index fingers of your hands are rooting energetically into the ground as you externally rotate your arms and send your biceps up towards the sky. Engage your core. Reach up to the sky with your sitting bones. As you inhale, draw your knee to chest and exhale. Place your hand in between your feet and pivot your back foot so that it is parallel with the short side of your mat. Pause here. Check in with your foot alignment. Your right heel should bisect your back foot. Root into the foundation of both feet. Squeeze your feet together and spiral your arms up to find warrior 2. Look down, check your front knee, make sure it's not caving in, and just give it a slight push out as you pull your back hip point more parallel with the long edge of your mat. Wrap your right sitting bones in as you straighten your back leg, lengthening your tailbone to the ground. Soften your front ribs, squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back, and raise your arms to shoulder height. Mount your shoulders away from your ears and reach out into space through your hands and your crown of your head. Place your elbow on your front knee and really pull that front knee back as you raise your left arm to the sky. Melt your shoulder blades away from your ears as you lengthen from your back heel all the way out through the crown of your head. Engage all 4 sides of your waist as you spiral your hands down to the ground and step back to downward facing dog. As you step your foot forward, left foot forward, engage your hands and keep your collarbones wide. Place your foot in between your hands. Stay high on the ball of your back foot. Suck your belly in, squeeze from the midline. Rise up, arms overhead to high lunge. In your front foot, all 4 corners of your foot are grounded into the ground. Your knee is stacking over your ankle. In your back leg, you're high on the ball of your foot. You're bringing your leg towards straight. Your hips are neutral and square in space. You're softening your front ribs as you secure your shoulder blades on your back, reaching up through your fingertips and squeezing your biceps to your ears. Squeeze through the midline to create more stability as you drop your arms to shoulder height and twist to your left. Engage your core and twist a little bit more on each exhale. Keep your shoulder blades plugged on your back as you lengthen your collarbones out through your fingertips. Bring your back arm to the front. Place your hands on the ground. Find plank. Again, root down through your hands and out through your heels. Squeeze your legs together through the midline to support your pelvis. Broaden your collarbones as you lower to chaturanga. Lower all the way to the ground. Untuck your toes. Untuck your hands, fingertips pointing towards your heels. Anchor your pelvis down as you pull your chest and your shoulder points up. Engage your core and squeeze your midline and raise your hands and your feet into the air. Collarbones are wide, shoulder blades are plugged onto your back. and you are reaching out into space through the crown of your head, your fingertips and your toes. Gently lower back down. Place your hands next to your chest. Push up to tabletop. Push back to downward facing dog. Look at your hands. Walk forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Hands to hips. Root your feet. Rise up to Tadasana. A few steady, easy cycles of breath. Inhale, engaging your core and keeping your front ribs soft. Exhale, hinge forward at your hips, protecting your back with a strong core. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Step back to downward facing dog. Root through your hands and your feet and find the general form. Hands outer shoulders distance apart, feet hips distance apart and parallel, knees bend as your inner thighs are pushing back in space. Wrap your arms in as you send your biceps towards the sky. Look at your hands. Step your left foot forward in between your hands, engaging your core, pivoting your back foot so that it is parallel with the short edge of your mat. Checking in with your heel to arch alignment, engaging your core and keeping your collarbones wide as you spiral your arms up and find warrior two. Left knee is stacking 90 degrees over the ankle. Push your left knee out as you pull your back hip open. It's gonna feel like you're wrapping your front sitting bone in and straightening your back leg more. Push your knee wide with your elbow and keep your shoulder blades on your back as you raise your arm towards the sky to find a side angle pose. Reach through all four corners of your waist as you spiral your hands to the ground and step back into downward facing dog. Find a few gentle and deep cycles of breath. Wrap your outer arms in. Send your inner thighs back up into space. Engage your core as you look at your hands and bring your right foot forward. Stay high on the balls of your back foot. Feet are hips distance apart and parallel. Root into your front foot as you suck your belly in and inhale your chest up and your arms overhead to find high lunge. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Squeeze the space in between your feet together. Soften your front ribs in as you mount your shoulders away from your ears. Your outer arms are squeezing in towards your head and your fingertips are reaching up into space energetically. Engage your inner and outer hips to keep your pelvis stable as you lower your arms to shoulder height and twist to the right. Lengthen through the four sides of your waist as you twist even more on every exhale. Keep your collarbones wide and reach out through your fingertips. Bring your back arm forward in space and place your hands down on either side of your foot. Squeeze through the midline as you step your right foot back to meet your left and find plank pose. Keep your collarbones wide as you lower halfway to chaturanga and all the way to the floor. Untuck your toes and reach your hands back towards your heels. Anchor the tops of your feet and your pelvis into the floor, and gently melt your shoulder points up. Squeeze through your midline and engage your core as you reach your fingertips and your toes up and back in space. Keep your collarbones wide as you squeeze your shoulder blades together. And gently let go. Place your hands next to your chest. Gently push yourself up to tabletop, keeping your core stable. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips back into downward facing dog. Look towards your hands. Step forward to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, broad collarbones. Exhale, forward fold. Place the hands on your hips. Inhale, halfway. Root your feet into the ground and rise all the way up with the crown of your head. Take a few cycles of breath. Namaste.